looking at your questions and examples from the Think Up Math book. It talks about percent change and finding what percent it changed by. And then over here it says find the markup. So it gives you a percent, and then you have to mark up that percentage or that number by that percentage. Okay, then that's between you and your book. Honest Abe's Electronics has a sale. I still hear people talking while I'm reading. A 65-inch television that is regularly priced at $1,500 is on sale for $975. By what percent is the price of the television changed? Begin with the ratio comparing the new value to the original value and a percent ratio. This is just one way to solve it. You put the new price over the original, and then you get a percent over 100. Percent is always out of 100. Whether this percent is bigger than 100 or not depends upon whether it's a markup, markdown, a tax, or a tip has been added. So they create the proportion over here by writing the new price over the old one or the original one. And then they want to know by what percent was it marked down. Solve the resulting proportion. So how do you get from 1,500 to 100? Ladies, I'm sorry. Am I interrupting your conversation? I'll be quiet. Hold on. There's still some people who aren't ready. So they went from 1,500 to 100 by dividing by 15. And then whatever they did to the bottom, they made sure to do to the top. Proportions aren't always going to be this easy to solve, though, when you're getting questions like this on a test or on further practice in this same book. So you need to know other ways to solve this kind of problem. Furthermore, it says identify what the unknown value represents. It represents a percent. And then review the question to determine additional steps. X represents the percent of the new price to the old price. The question asked by what percent was it changed? This is not the value that we calculated because the change is the difference in the prices, or it's $525. So the percent change is the difference in 100 and 65. The answer is 35%. Now, the way that Miss Starling has explained it is find the amount of change, divide it by the original, multiply it by 100. This is usually going to be a decimal of some sort. Here's what that looks like. I need to ask myself a couple of questions. Is this an increase or a decrease? If I start page 60 to 62, number 1. If I start at 1,500 and I go to 975, is that an increase or a decrease?
Decrease.
Decrease. It's going down. Okay? What is the change? By how much money did it go down? How do I find that out? How do I get from 1,500 to 975? Subtract. Right up here. Subtract 1,500 minus 975. Do we need to move seats? Because we will. Can I do 0 minus 5? I need to borrow from the 15. It becomes 14. This 0 becomes a 9. This 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 5. 9 minus 7. And 14 minus 9. The change is 525. So if you take my formula, you're going to have change over your original and then times 100. So I put 525. What was my original price? 1,500. And then I need to simplify. Always, always, always simplify your fractions before multiplying by 100. I might not even need to multiply by 100 because I already know what it is. I don't know why you're standing up not paying attention to what we're supposed to be doing, but I need you to sit down and pay attention. What can I simplify by? Bigger than 5. 100. This doesn't end in 2 zeros, guys. Think about your divisibility rules, which you should have learned in 6th grade. 25. And it's not always what it ends by either, or what it ends in. So, quarters. How many quarters are in $5.25? 21 quarters. How many quarters are in $15? 60. 21/60. Can I simplify more? Absolutely. By what number? You need to think. By 3. Good. How many times does 3 go into 21? And how many times does it go into 60? 7/20. So now I have 7/20 times 100. What is 7/20 as a decimal? Who in and who out? 720. How many times does 20 go into 70? 3. 3 times 20? 60. 70 minus 60? 10. Bring down a 0. 20 into 100? 0.35 times 100 is what? What did I say you're doing if you're multiplying by 100? I'm not adding 2 zeros. We talked about this in our notes. It's not always adding 2 zeros. Say what about the decimal? Move it to the right. How many times? 2 times because there's 2 zeros. 35 what? And what does this mean in the context of my question? Look back at your notes. 35 what? Percent. This is a 35% decrease because I've already established that it's a decrease. The price of that TV went down by 35%. There's my answer. The markup example says a clothing boutique marks up the wholesale price of their clothing by 65% to find the retail prices. This is what we just wrote in our notebook. This is our selling price, what we sell it for. If the boutique purchases a shirt at a wholesale cost of $29, what is the retail price or the selling price of the shirt to the nearest dollar? Begin with the ratio comparing the markup amount to the wholesale price and a percent ratio. So markup to wholesale, percent to 100. Percent is always out of 100. Good. M is my markup price. I don't know what it is, so I'm putting a variable there. $29 is my what? My what? No, 29. Look at where it's placed. Look at this ratio. 29 is the what? The wholesale, also known as the original amount. Okay? 65 is the what? Is the percent that I am marking it up by. Solve the proportion. Cross multiply, then divide. They're multiplying by 29 over here, and then they're going to divide by 100. 1885. So what does this 1885 mean I'm going to do? No, you already cross multiplied and divided. You need to think. What is the markup? The increase. So if I'm increasing, what am I doing? No, I'm adding it to what? No, 100 was my original price. I'm adding it to 29. So this becomes, it's rounded to the nearest dollar. What is this to the nearest dollar? Think. Dollar, meaning I don't want any cents. $19. And I'm adding this to whom? To 29. 19 plus 29 ends up being 48. Okay, I want to show you a different way of doing that. Whenever you see a percent, what do I want you to convert it to? A decimal. 0.65. Then I want you to multiply it by whatever price they give you. What price did they give me? $29. Okay, now 9 times 5. 9 times 6 plus 4. 2 times 5. 2 times 6 plus 1. 13. 5 plus 0. Plus, honey, not times. 8 plus 0. 5 plus 3. And 1 plus 0. I got 1885 again. Did I not?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to mark this up. So I'm going to round this to 19. And this is my markup. Then when I add it to 29, this becomes my retail or my selling price. It's definitely going to be an increase because it's got up in it. 8, 4, $48 for clothing, a shirt. That's how they get you. That's like me saying, I bought this pen for $2, but I'm going to sell it to Harmony for $3. I marked it up by $1, which is technically a 50% markup. Thanks. It's how people make profit. It's how you stay in business. Raise your hand if you know somebody who owns a business. Okay, those people, I didn't ask you who they were. I said to raise your hand, not your voice. Those people have to stay in business by getting profit. They have to sell things for a little bit more than what they paid for. Okay, that's a business scheme. It works. All right, it's like Target, staying in business. Target gets their clothes for a certain amount of money, but they sell them to you for a little bit more. Maybe a lot of bit. Anyway, looking at the examples where it says try it. Marina's bill for dinner is $38.65, including tax. They already included the tax. She leaves a 20% tip. How much is Marina's total? Okay. I can do this 2 ways. I can do the proportion where I have 20% out of 100 is something out of 38.65. Or I can take my percent and convert it to a what? A decimal, which would be point what? 0.20. And then my bill is how much?
38.65.
Good. So I'm going to add 38.65 plus my tip. So 0.20 times 38.65. 2 times 5. 6 times 2 plus 1. 2 times 8 plus 1. Pay attention. And 3 times 2 plus 1. How many times do I move my decimal? No. How many numbers did I circle? 3. Furthermore, if I have $77 in tip, that's a little ridiculous. The decimal has to go here. This decimal is not correct.